KSR's Jack Pilgrim here with Zach Gagan breaking down Kentucky's, I guess it's Kentucky versus Kentucky, the blue-white scrimmage down here in Pikeville. The white team holds off the blue team 70-67. Zach, an interesting evening here at the what is this? I don't even know what this event is.
The Appalachian Wireless Arena?
The Appalachian Wireless.
We are.
Amazing venue. I loved it. 7,000 people here strong. A little bit of a slow start. I know Cal kind of delayed things there for a little while as some fans were piling in there late, but we finally got some scrimmaging there at the very end of it, and it was a close affair.
Yeah, the actual line I want to talk about, just because the arena itself here is awesome. Like you said, about 7,000 people packed up quick. The lines outside, both the back ends of the lines were touching each other. That they were wrapped around that far around this entire building here. This little area that we are, I guess, just a part of downtown Pikeville. I'm not entirely sure where we are, honestly.
Beautiful place. Beautiful place.
This area itself is just awesome. Wanted to get that out there first. But then we got into the actual scrimmage. Obviously, we were missing Oscar Shibwe, Xavier Wheeler, Lance Ware. So those three were not participating. They were dealing with minor injuries. So Calipari kind of let everyone know beforehand that they were going to do things a little bit differently. They did practices at the beginning, then slowly worked their way into, they did some drills, and slowly worked their way into the actual scrimmage where we got a full 20-minute first half, a 10-minute second half. But overall, we actually got some good basketball. So that was good to hear. What do you think you saw, Jack?
I appreciate that, when it's scholarship players versus scholarship players, it's almost always a full court layup line, essentially. You never get real competitive basketball. I love that because the walk-ons were in, Aduthiero, clearly somebody trying to prove something. Antonio Reeves, kind of trying to find his footing and figure out, can I be the star in this team? Can I be the leading scorer? Finding his footing as well. You got more competitiveness there, and I appreciated that it was a back-and-forth affair all the way through the final buzzer. Essentially, Aduthiero had a chance to win the game or at least send it to overtime there at the very end. Antonio Reeves leads the way with 27 points, Zach. I thought Antonio was sensational, and then Aduthiero goes for 20-plus as well. He kind of maintained, point guard status for his team, which I thought was kind of a new thing for him. You kind of think he's going to be a wing of sorts. You don't really know what he's going to be because he's 6'6" and growing. Could be 6'10" by the end of the day. But I really like what we saw from both of those guys.
Yeah, with Xavier out, you had Adu playing a little bit more point guard for him. So I'm not sure if he was used to it or not, but he definitely acted like he was. And it wasn't just, a one spurt at the beginning or something. He was continuously playing point guard possessions and playing really well, attacking the rim. Sometimes it didn't go too well, but, he was going into, amongst Damian Collins and the likes of those guys. So overall, I loved what I saw from Adu. It was the aggression that we really like to see from a freshman like him. He was definitely, him and Antonio did not act like this was a scrimmage. And I think that's what we liked the most. Honestly, most of the players didn't act like it was a scrimmage. Even though the teams were a little bit, I don't know what the nice way to say that they were stacked one way to the other. The white team definitely had the better team overall, but still the blue team did well. Adu, like you said, had a chance to win at the end. May have fumbled the ball out of bounds and cost the possession that Calipari kind of called to him. But the fact that he wanted to take the shot, we like that. We like that from our young freshmen.
How about Hugo making his debut, Ugano Onyenso? We got to see him a little bit. We talked, he kind of made fun of him a little bit in the Big Blue Madness scrimmage because he was trying a little bit harder than everybody else. We got to see him in his first live real game setting. He goes for 14 points, I believe 5 rebounds and 4 blocks. 4 blocks. He had one on Chris Livingston where he sent his shot into the stands. Incredible stuff. He's known for his elite defensive instincts. I love what I saw from Hugo in his debut.
Yeah, you're going to know when that guy blocks a shot because the entire crowd is going to ooh and ah whenever it happens, and that happened on pretty much all of his blocks. So a nice little real debut for Hugo, definitely. It was nice to see him get those minutes with Oscar out. So, he probably had, even though it is a scrimmage, he probably thought that he could go out there and just play his game. So it was nice to see him look, just get more comfortable as we get closer to the season.
I guess my question for you is, do you feel with Oscar and his kind of status up in the air, are you more confident in Hugo as kind of that placeholder at center? We are also down Lance Ware as well, so he was the only available scholarship center on the roster. Are you more confident after seeing him in a setting like this that Hugo could be kind of a placeholder guy should Oscar miss any time or, should any injury situation pop up throughout the season?
I don't want to say that he should come in and maybe play, legitimate minutes if something were to happen to Oscar, but it definitely makes you feel better that he can come in and be more productive than you might have thought had you not seen games like this. So overall, it's nice that you're seeing the slow development from him. Maybe you would still rather have Oscar playing as many minutes as possible, but definitely a nice little placeholder that you can count on maybe early in the season at least. It'll be nice to see if he can get flooded some minutes early on and go from there.
All of this time, and we still haven't even addressed the winning team, the white team with 70 points, led by C.J. Frederick, and his return to the floor after missing the entire last season with a hamstring injury. He leads with 18 points, knocks down some three-point jump shots. His confidence is through the roof right now. I love what he brought, the intensity he brought defensively as well. But he was brought in to be that 50, coin flip three-point shooter, and every time he shot the ball, we talked to Adu Thero after the game. He said, every time C.J. Frederick shoots the ball, I expect him to make those shots, and I'm starting to get that level of confidence in him as well. Every time he pulled up, I was like, well, that's cash.
Yeah, he's definitely filling out that Kellen Grady role, and he's taking that over perfectly. Especially if you watch just CJ closely, you'll see him just sprint around the court, doing exactly what Kellen Grady was doing very, very well at the beginning of last season before things kind of fell apart there towards the end. So he's absolutely going to play that same role. He was fighting around screens, hunting for curls, trying to get himself open. Once you get a point guard like Xavier Wheeler in there, we've got some construction going on in the back. Hopefully you can still hear me here, folks. But once he's get a point guard like Xavier in there for him, you're definitely going to see him pop open for those shots even more and more, and he's absolutely got the clip, like you said. I think Antonio even said that, I think he said, I don't want to misquote him, I think he said sniper. I think he used the sniper term, was what Antonio used. So.
I think that's a good call. Speaking of that point guard position, it's our first chance seeing Cason Wallace in a real starting point guard role. I think he finishes with 15 points, second on the team. Chris Livingston added 15, but it was a really quiet 15 when I looked up the final box score. Definitely did not think that. I thought he played okay, but definitely not one of the stronger performers, I don't think. But I thought Cason played really well, extremely confident as a jump shooter, and I like the pace that he brought to the table as a starting point guard.
Yeah, it's nice that we're kind of already, we know what to expect from the freshmen already, which seems odd because they are kind of consistent with what they're doing. And like you said, I didn't think Chris or Cason did anything to really blow you away, but they still put up stats, put up numbers, and that's kind of what you're looking for out of freshmen early on. And everything we've seen so far, Bahamas, Big Bahamas taking it all into account, shows that they're capable of playing consistently, and I think that's really one of the bigger things that you should take away from that.
Damian Collins finishes with 10 points. Not a crazy stat line by any means necessary, but I did kind of see a lot of Kevin Durant stuff that we talked about before. John Calipari this summer at the Bahamas told reporters that he's doing some Kevin Durant type stuff, pull up mid-range jump shots that you shouldn't be able to do at his size and his wingspan and the length that he has. Really showing off a lot of confidence there in that face-up game. We saw some of that last year, and especially in the blue-white game. There's misleading stat lines. I mean, remember Darnell Dodson led the way with 26 points to start the John Calipari era. John Hood had 17 points. You go down the list, there are a lot of those type of examples, and I think Damian Collins kind of fit that mold last season, but I think what we saw from him tonight fits more closely of what we're going to see out of him this season.
Yeah, we all know about his athleticism. That you don't have to talk about that anymore. But the things that I like to see, and he's talked about it a lot all offseason, his teammates himself have really hyped it up, is his one dribble pull-up jumper. We did see him knock one down. It was from right around the top of the key, about 19 feet. Literally was just the one dribble, pulled up, swished it. So that's the shot that if he starts really hitting, and you get the Kevin Durant vibes is where that comes from. That's when you're really going to start seeing a leap from Damian Collins. So I think he was more just, I don't think he was trying to, overexert himself as well, maybe knowing that some of the other centers are injured. So, and I was fine with that, but I liked what I saw of Collins, and I'm really liking that pull-up so far. He's starting to get really consistent with it.
As for why we're even here in the first place, why we're at Appalachian Wireless Arena, why we're in Pikeville, $160,000+ donated. All proceeds go to flood relief down here in Eastern Kentucky. I thought it was a tremendous event in that regard. The governor of Kentucky here kind of talking, and, the standing ovation when the check was presented. What was that moment to you, Zach? It was something that, kind of take a step back and go, wow, this is a really cool event that it's bigger than basketball, I think.
Yeah, and to see all the fans, the 7,000 fans come in and pile in, and, all the ticket proceeds went to that check that they were able to present at the end. So just seeing all that, you get the sense of community here, that everyone is still working together and trying to fix things, and Calipari was big about that when he took the stage, saying that we are not forgetting this area of the state, things like that. So coming here and helping raise more money for that, really sets home, or makes it set home that that's kind of where he's thinking, and he's always got philanthropic ideas on his mind. So personally, I love seeing stuff like this, and it's always nice to come out to a different part of the state, especially for me because I haven't been out here before. So just overall, I loved it.
Yeah, Cal, every time he had the mic in his hand, he said, "This is for you guys. This is for you. We want to make sure you're not forgotten." And I think that's something that's really cool. Also went out of his way to mention that the Western Kentucky and the tornado issues that they, went through and just the disaster that kind of swept through there. He went out of his way to say, "Look, we're focused on this right now because we're here and the event's here, but let's not forget about the Western Kentucky, folks that were, impacted in that regard as well." So I appreciate Cal's efforts there. Close out. It wasn't just about current Wildcats, future Wildcats as well. Reed Sheppard hosted his own basketball camp here in Pikeville. 35-ish or so campers there, Zach. 1st through 8th grade. It was the Reed Sheppard Impact Camp. I thought that was a really cool thing. And at the very end of it, he even presents a $10,000 check to flood relief in Eastern Kentucky. I thought that was an awesome event, an awesome touch. Appreciate that even the future Wildcats are getting involved.
Yeah, a lot of big checks today going around. So that was awesome to see. They had Jeff Sheppard, his dad, Stacey Sheppard, his mom were there as well. Everyone was kind of shooting around. It was kind of cool just seeing Reed and Jeff. They were doing it was called Racks, I think, where they were playing some
little three-point shootout competition.
3-point game they were playing together. So it was just kind of surreal watching Reed and Jeff Sheppard shoot back and forth in a contest.
And Stacey.
Stacey was actually in the finals against another young girl who was hitting more threes combined than Reed and Jeff did. So that was interesting to see. But the camp itself was awesome. You see Reed really you can tell that he enjoys, he's done multiple camps like this before. He enjoys getting to talk to those kids and getting close to them, and helping even teach them a little bit of basketball. So big day for just big checks.
And also a little very small tidbit as well. We talked to him. He had a little media interview session. We asked him about the commitment of Aaron Bradshaw, what that meant. He said that he absolutely loves Aaron as a player and thinks he's going to be a tremendous teammate. We asked about DJ Wagner. He was like, "Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that one. I like where things stand there." So.
He was just as shocked about the Aaron commitment as we were as well. So
yeah, he was like he didn't even walk in yet. We see the commitment come through our phones. We were like, when the heck did that happen? And then he said it was a really cool moment when Aaron walked into the room and they all kind of hugged him and celebrated with him. So I thought that part was cool. But keep your eye out for DJ Wagner. Reed was clearly a little bit confident about that one, Zach.
Yeah, no, I think he's hinted at it a couple times. I feel like every time he goes, "Yeah, I feel good about DJ." So I don't think there's much more to say at this point other than the final ball at this point, or let it fly. So come on, DJ.
Yeah, very excited for that. Very excited to get home. It's going to be a long drive out of here. We are out from Pikeville. I'm Jack Pilgrim here with Zach Gagan. We are out.